Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday Morning Tailgate, Episode 8. Very excited to be with you today. Myself, Tim Barnard, Arthur Hurst will join us in about 45 minutes. He's late to the party, but we'll be excited to have him be a part of this. Tim, how are you doing on this college football Saturday? New interim head coach for your Florida Gators.
New interim head coach, and we got probably the toughest test of our life today, going against the Georgia Bulldogs. Listen, I've been saying it all year. This Georgia team is not on par with their championship teams of the past, but that doesn't mean I'm still not scared for them. And hey, Arthur, where's he at? Did he have a little, too much last night? Is he a little, like?
I mean, it was Halloween.
Is he still asleep on his bed?
That's that. I mean, I wouldn't discount anything. Shout out to our good friend Arthur Hurst, who will be here to defend himself in about 45 minutes. Listen, it was Halloween last night. I'm sure everybody had a good time. What did you dress as? A disgruntled Gators fan? Was that your costume? Was that what we were doing?
I got a big cowboy hat, and I got my leather jacket. I like to go as Indiana Jones, nice and easy.
Okay, you know what? It's simple. It works. Our guy Patrick Brown is in the comments. He says, "Happy Saturday, fellas. Hope all is staying safe and well. Let the final stretch of college football begin." Yeah, we're in the final month of the regular season, which is I cannot believe how fast this season has gone by. Every week it's been a lead off with a head coach firing. Yeah, it's 3 weeks in a row now with James Franklin, Billy Napier, now with Brian Kelly. We'll talk about this in just a moment. Matter of fact, let's just get right into it. So the first part of this massive LSU story is Sunday night. Brian Kelly, head coach of the LSU Tigers, is fired or mutually agreed to part ways, which you and I both know, Tim, is the classy way of saying you were fired. I mean, name one situation where someone walks in, I agree, I should lose my job. I totally agree with you. Great call, by the, administrative individuals. So let me ask you first, Tim, were you shocked, the first part of this, were you shocked by the firing, and do you think Brian Kelly deserved to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked by this firing. How could you not be? I mean, listen, we all know that LSU was not the same this year. They came in riding on a massive white horse. Garrett Nussmeier, a preseason Heisman favorite. You had Brian Kelly going, 10-4, 10-3, 9-4 in 3 consecutive years. They lead off. They win the first game of the year, which they haven't done in 3 years under Brian Kelly. And then all of a sudden, they get their asses handed to them against Texas A&M. And you have all the fan base of LSU who is still at the game chanting to fire Brian Kelly. And which actually made me laugh as a Gator fan, seeing how all the national media – all the people were saying, "Oh, Florida's such a toxic fan base. All the Florida people don't know, that their program sucks and is average. It's on par with Ole Miss. Somebody's got to be the loser in the state." All that crap. And yet, you have Brian Kelly, who's 34-15, getting fired. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of crap when it comes to that man and his, programs that happen at Notre Dame, LSU. We all know that, and we'll probably, talk about that more in a minute. But you're talking about how this guy had a Heisman winner, averaged 10 wins in his 4 years there, and the whole fan base is screaming, fire Brian Kelly in his 4th year. Meanwhile, us Gators had a losing record with our head coach, which hasn't happened since the 1960s. And yet we're the toxic fan base? Spare me.
Listen, I respect that, because you were obviously talking about that last week. Like, guys, it's not like this guy was even close to winning. I mean, the best season was 7-5 last year, I think, for Florida with Billy Napier, under 500, as you mentioned. Listen, my initial take on this, I wasn't shocked only in the sense of, like you said, the fans chanting fire Brian Kelly. Like, if you lose the fan base, maybe you've lost some of the locker room to a degree. Like, we knew LSU's playoff hopes were completely dashed once they lost their 3rd game of the year. Their offense, I mean, I guess I get a bit of a silver lining we kept talking about in this show, that outside of Southeast Louisiana, they had yet to score over 24 points. Well, they did get to 25. So, silver lining, you got to find the positives where you can find them. I guess there's not many to find with LSU. My thing is this with Brian Kelly. Don't burn every bridge in existence and ask me to get out the construction team to build a new one. Because this is a guy who, when he was at Notre Dame, man, if only not for the academic requirements to, go to Notre Dame, if I got to recruit with SEC resources, SEC talent, well, guess what? He got to do that. And by the way, Marcus Freeman is kind of crushing it at Notre Dame. All right, they're probably about to go to another college football playoff. They went to the Natty last year. He's been fantastic. And then you had the situation, obviously, with the kid who died at Notre Dame. We're not even going to put that on Brian Kelly per se. That's
allegedly he asked the kid to go up in a crazy windstorm that was going on during practice. So yeah, it does kind of make sense that you put that on him, but I understand. Like, I'm not again, I think it's fair to say that we don't know Brian Kelly as a human being. We don't know him from a hole in the wall.
Sure.
But at the same time, all the stories that are coming out between the Notre Dame kid, God rest his soul, the poor kid that came out, 2-3 years ago, the documentary or the ESPN, E60 or whatever the ESPN thing was, where the kid had a major injury, was supposed to be a top prospect in the NFL. He, is paralyzed, and allegedly Brian Kelly's never reached out to him or the family. And then the people who are defending Brian Kelly on that, saying that the school put a gag, you can't reach out to him because they're suing the school, all these crazy things. It's like, at that point, who cares? This is a kid. Like, yes. He was 21 years old, 22 years old, and now his life is changed forever. And you couldn't reach out or go to the hospital? Like, what are we doing?
And even the quote-unquote hard-ass coaches like a Nick Saban's reaching out to him.
Nick Saban's been there.
Nick Saban would have been there. Excuse me. Yeah, and by the way, it was the kid's dad who said, like, yeah, Coach Kelly, we've heard nothing. And so, like you said, it's almost as if, like, I appreciate what you could do for me as a program. Beyond that, you're pretty much irrelevant to me. I mean, you were big on this, Tim, when he was after they beat Florida 20-10, and he was just ripping the media. How dare you criticize us? We won, brother. You scored 20 points when the other quarterback threw 5 picks at home. Like, those are reasonable criticism. You got to know when you're coming to LSU. That's certain college football media. They're going to be demanding. That's the nature of LSU. Ask Nick Saban. Ask Les Miles. Ask Ed Orgeron. Like, Ed Orgeron got fired 2-3 years after winning a Natty. Like, it's a harsh fan base. It's a harsh media. And for you to get all defensive, even SEC media days, like, man, been nice if y'all showed up on time. And shout out to a member of the media for saying, if you'd have showed up on time, it would have been, wouldn't have been a problem. So yeah, don't burn every bridge known to existence, and be shocked when no one's necessarily coming to your defense, because you sure as heck didn't come in anybody else's defense when they were going through far worse than what you're going through with the $50-something million buyout. Like, Brian Kelly's gonna be fine. $54 million. Yeah,
90% of it guaranteed. $54 million. I mean, God love athletic director Scott Woodward, for having both Jimbo Fisher and Brian Kelly on his resume. That is just absolutely wild. But the other thing I will say is, when Brian Kelly, both him and Billy Napier got hired at the same time. And of course, yes, I'm going to bring in my Gators again, because why not? Sure. There's a reason why I wear that logo. They got hired at the same time. And I was thinking, first of all, I followed Notre Dame for a very long time, on top of my Florida Gators, obviously. But it was a situation where when he got hired by LSU, I knew that was not going to end well. Brian Kelly is not SEC material. I don't even think he's Big Ten material, because unless it's a Wisconsin or, a school, Minnesota, a school of Iowa, like relative.
Tier 2 in the Big Ten.
Thank you.
A tier 2 school. Yeah, like not like an Ohio State and Oregon and Michigan.
No. Yeah. So that's kind of the issue with Brian Kelly. First and foremost, I knew that wasn't going to work, and it was only a matter of time. Now, when he got off to the hot start, when he had Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman and all of these things, as a Florida fan, I'm sitting there going, son of a, I can't even, meanwhile, I'm struggling here, and I'm trying to defend Billy Napier amongst all the other rabid Florida fans who are like, fire him after year 2. It took 2 years to change the freaking culture of that program with how Dan Mullen left it. And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Dan Mullen, talk about burning bridges. Holy hell. The way he left that culture, there was zero accountability with the players. And so with Brian Kelly now coming in and getting fired the week after Billy Napier does, I'm sitting there going, what are we doing? And I also understand, too, that not for nothing, this sets up LSU perfectly to be at least 1A when it comes to job openings. That, look at the rest of the job openings. Okay, yeah, you get LSU, Florida. Then number 2 is Penn State. Then drop off. You got Virginia Tech, Arkansas, all the other openings that are, you just Oklahoma State that you're sitting there going, okay, but you're not in the running for the top guys. Let's put it that way. That's a very easy, choice to make if you have the ability to go to 1, 2, then 3.
Yeah, no question. And our guy Patrick Brown says Purdue may try and hire Brian Kelly. Yeah, like that's kind of a situation where like low expectations. No one's expecting Purdue to make a run in the Big Ten, but he could go there. There's the Brian Kelly aspect, although I don't know if kids these days, especially with the history that he has, would be like, yeah, I want to play for that guy. Like that's a concern as well. But he certainly is he'll tell you what this. I don't know if Brian Kelly is a ceiling raiser. He is at least a floor raiser. Right. So I think he could be able to do that at Purdue and get the most out of that group. So Patrick does make a good point. So the second aspect of this, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, along with that, though, Brian Kelly's also going to have to temper his expectations on who he's going to be able to recruit. Because again, he went to Notre, which is so ironic when you go to Notre Dame and say, "Oh, I need the money to recruit like a national championship contender." It's like, dude, you're at Notre Dame. You're not sharing any of the profits with any other school. Your TV deal is yours.
Yep.
Like at what minimum 20, 30, 40 million dollars are going straight to Notre Dame and lining their pockets. You're telling me that you can't recruit out there? Not to mention his time at LSU, there were reports of him during major recruiting weekends. He's on the beach in frickin' Florida. Yeah, because that's what you're supposed to do as a head coach. You're supposed to be out of state, not doing anything, sitting on your fat ass, and just chilling on the beach, soaking up some damn sun. Like, yeah, there you go, Brian. Good for you. That's how to recruit, man. That's how to recruit. Take after Dan Mullen with that type of mentality.
And it's, you kind of make an interesting point that it's almost as if college football to a degree has become kind of a young man's sport in a sense, right? Like where it's very much especially now with NIL transfer portal, you got to be, it is a 365-day job. And if you are kind of going to half-ass it to a degree like Brian Kelly did, there's a ceiling on how far you can go. Now, the second aspect of this entire LSU story is Scott Woodward. Who, again, he and the program mutually agreed to part ways. We are using air quotes because he was also fired. So this is a disaster. Like you got the governor of Louisiana saying, I'm not going to let the AD make the coaching pick. Now the interim AD is going to come in, which is he going to be the full-time AD? Because why would the interim be making the decision? It's an abject disaster. Your thoughts on the situation? Do you think for some of the top coaching candidates, like a Lane Kiffin, we've talked about potentially Joe Brady. I suggested Joe Brady as a potential, candidate for the Florida Gators. Do you think this whole chaotic situation with LSU is kind of a drawback for some candidates?
I think it definitely plays a role because here you have a public university at in Louisiana where the governor is not only a fan, but he's acting like he's running the show. And listen, say what you want about his politics. I'm not going into that world. I don't give a damn about his politics. When you have a political figure who is the governor of the state, so concerned with the college football team of the state, and luckily, at least for Louisiana State is it. There is nothing else. Okay, yeah, Lafayette, whatever. Like, no. It is
no competition.
No competition. It is Louisiana State University. And they rake in a lot of money, which helps the state out because of the fact that they are so popular nationwide, probably worldwide. Everyone knows the LSU logo. right? Just like I said about the Florida Gator logo. Everyone knows it. But when you have the governor of your state getting everyone around, getting the board of governors around, getting the boosters around, saying, how much are you going to chip in? How much are you going to chip in? How much are you going to chip in? Doesn't that scare the hell out of you that it's not necessarily the AD you have to worry about? It's the freaking governor of the state? Like, that is mind-boggling. I couldn't believe that. As I'm like reading all the stories, he's posting the contract of Brian Kelly, trying to allege, something about the buyout with Brian. And listen, I understand that LSU, you're right next to Texas. You're an hour and a half flight to Atlanta. You are a hop, skip, and a jump from Florida and Miami. But you have all this meddling going on.
Yeah.
Again, to use my Gators as an example, yeah, we still can't find a freaking president. But who gives a damn about a freaking president when you're looking for a coach, right? The president's not a part of this. That's the athletic director's job. That's what he has to concern himself with. But outside of the governor and everything, of course it's an appealing job. Like I just mentioned, it's either 1A or 1B, however you frame it with Florida. But the meddling that is going on, and that just in the way that this whole thing transpired with Brian Kelly, the firing, and the governor being as wrapped up as he is in this, yeah, that's. Whew. I don't know about you, but that would turn me off.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. Listen, to your point, obviously, LSU is. I know you got the Saints, you got the Pelicans. That is an LSU state. Like if you polled every single fan in the state of Louisiana, you said if you had to take two teams away, well, the Saints, that'd probably be an easy call because the Saints are awful. They've been awful throughout their history outside of Drew Brees, Sean Payton. And then the Pelicans, no one gives a dang about the Pelicans. And then obviously with LSU, they would keep that in heart because they've been one of the premier, forget football programs, college athletics programs across the board. You think about women's basketball, you think about baseball, like they're an outstanding program. Our guy Patrick Brown's in the comments. He says he disagrees with you. He says LSU is the most unappealing job opening. Nobody wants to be handcuffed in putting a team and staff together. It's very Dallas Cowboys-ish. It is in how it's been handled.
I agree with Patrick wholeheartedly. And I'm just saying that the only reason why it's still appealing is, yeah, you're going to have to deal with all that BS that is coming from the freaking governor and all the board of directors and everything there. But it's so appealing because it's such a recognizable brand that Nick Saban created. Let's not... there is a history, but that history, again, as I've talked about with Florida, that history is old before Nick Saban came along and won the Natty in 2003. Before then, LSU was not anywhere close to that. So that's where, and I agree with Patrick wholeheartedly. It is a scary job. But let's put it this way. If you're Eli Drinkowitz and let's say Lane Kiffin goes to Florida because, just Lane, Florida, the whole thing. Lane Kiffin's at Florida. You're Eli Drinkowitz. Where would you rather be? Missouri or LSU? With all the nonsense that's going on.
Yeah.
If you're a up-and-coming coach, if you're a head coach of a Tier 2 program, wherever, not just SEC, wherever, and you have the opportunity to be the LSU head coach with all the BS that's going on right now, would you not take it?
And I mean, to your, excuse me, you kind of transitioned me right into what I was going to say about Kiffin, but your point about Drinkowitz at Missouri is a good one. Like if you're crushing it at a Tier 2 program in the SEC, which Drinkowitz is at Missouri and Lane Kiffin's really crushing at Ole Miss, that if you keep doing your thing, that opportunity will come. Shout out to a guy I have as much respect for in the business, and a brand new, by the way, Radio Hall of Famer, Colin Cowherd. He has a great saying. He says, don't chase money, chase great management. And yes, the money I'm sure will be very appealing at LSU, but you got to deal with an AD who may not even be your boss in a few months. I mean, I can't get through my head that the interim AD is making the selection of the new coach, and he might not even be there long term. Like he's making a long-term decision for LSU that he may not be a part of. So you got that. You got, like you said, the governor meddling and getting involved. The buyout with Brian Kelly. Again, I understand the resources of LSU, but there's also an element of life's pretty good where I'm at now. That opportunity will come if I continue to do what I'm doing at Missouri, at Ole Miss. And I have to admit, like, you've talked about some of the chaos that's happened inside of Florida. I think it pales in comparison to this. I think if you are Lane Kiffin, like Florida, there's no comparison. I think Lane Kiffin looks at Florida like that's a way more appealing job. Because they both have NIL resources, big time athletic departments, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, this is the thing that, again, as I stressed last week and coming on this week, this national hatred for the orange and blue is asinine to me. You have so many people defending. Again, one of the guys who was raging against Florida, calling us toxic, this, that, and the other, Tim Brando, he came out and praised Louisiana State University for firing Brian Kelly and thought that it was the right thing to do and that all the fans there were in their right mind. For a guy who's 34-15, yet we're the toxic ones at 23-24. It's stuff like this where I'm going, what world are we living in? And that's where, again, you're right. Florida, yeah, we got Ron DeSantis, who's a former Florida Gator. But Ron DeSantis is not meddling. He might tweet out about, how upset he is that, damn, I can't believe we're losing. I can't believe we suck. I can't believe this, that, and the other. But he's not actively, going there and trying to say, hey, we need to change our coach, guys. He's a preeminent booster. No. He actually understands, agree or not with his politics. He understands that, hey, I have to run the state of Florida, and the state of Florida is a hell of a lot more important than my football team. Love them to death, but I got to do my damn job first. And
you'd think running a state would consume your time more than, trying to find the head coach of a college football program. But yeah, that's right? Evidently that's not the case in Louisiana.
Not in Louisiana. And so it's wild to me. And yeah, Florida is on par with LSU. There are some metrics that Florida does better in, and people want to talk about, hey, it's the homegrown state is over. Homegrown kids is over. No, if kids have an opportunity, I guarantee you pull all the top recruits in the state of Florida, a vast majority of them are either going to choose between Florida State, Florida, and Miami. Tell me that's not homegrown kids.
Oh, I mean, Florida is one of the premier high school football, recruiting bases in the country. Yeah, I mean, Florida, Alabama, Ohio, like California. So, yeah, no question about it. And Patrick's in the comments. He says SMU just gave their head coach a new deal to keep him in the fold. Yeah, you got him. You got what's my man's name at at Indiana?
Kurt Cignetti.
Is it Cignetti? Yeah, Cignetti. They gave him a massive contract. State Indiana. We talked about that recently on the show. What's that?
I said, oh yeah, we definitely talked about that. Like how stupid Indiana was for that.
Again,
smart but stupid.
Smart but stupid. Yeah, right. Like I'll kind of defend Indiana just because, like, at least, I mean, what are they? It's not like they're a premier college football program. If they got the guy that's changed their program in a blink, you might as well keep him. All right, good conversation here. It is now time again. We're going to push the Vol View and Gator City up a little bit to let Arthur join. So we're going to start with the Vol View with yours truly, Bryson Carver, myself. So here's the thing. It's a massive matchup for the Tennessee Volunteers tonight against the Oklahoma Sooners. And I got to admit, like 2 weeks ago on the Vol View when I was talking about Alabama and the third Saturday in October, said it on the show. And unfortunately, it ended up coming to fruition. I was a little nervous. I wasn't feeling so great about it. We hadn't won in Tuscaloosa in 22 years. Alabama's offense was rolling. We had conversations on this show last week about whether Ty Simpson's the Heisman candidate, Heisman frontrunner. Last week didn't necessarily help his cause. He wasn't that good against South Carolina, but that's a different conversation for a different show. How does Tennessee respond to that? Well, they go to Kentucky, to Lexington, and Joey Aguilar's nothing short of phenomenal. Almost 400 yards, 3-4 touchdowns was fantastic in that game. I think was the first quarterback since Peyton Manning to put up a stat line against Kentucky that he did. Like nearly 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, completion percentage out the wazoo. And the fact of the matter is with this Tennessee offense, it's the second-ranked scoring offense in all of college football, and they're playing an Oklahoma defense that is the number 5 scoring defense in college football. So it is strength on strength. It is, okay, well, who's going to win out in the end? And obviously, as we all know, I'm wearing my black Tennessee hoodie because it is going to be dark mode at Neyland Stadium. Day after Halloween, celebrating it, I guess 24 hours later. All dark, Neyland Stadium. I think they might even be going with the blackout. I'm hearing rumors there might be like a blackout in the stadium, which is really dope. Here's the thing that I think about with Oklahoma. Man, this team was rolling. I mean, they look like a college football playoff contender in every sense of the word. And myself, Tim, and Arthur, we all talked about it in the show, made a colossal error in deciding to play John Mateer 17 days after thumb surgery on his throwing hand against Texas in the Red River rivalry game. Since then, he's not been the same. He had 3 picks against Texas, lost to a Longhorns team that, is playing a little bit better offensively now, but certainly hadn't found their rhythm at that point in time. We were thinking, Arthur consistently made the point. Remember, Arch Manning is the nephew, not the son of Peyton and Eli. So Texas wasn't rolling. Oklahoma obviously put themselves in a position to lose that game by playing John Mateer. The next week, he's fine, I guess, against South Carolina. Then the next week against Ole Miss, okay, I guess a little bit better, 200 yards, touchdown, 2 touchdowns, like, okay, still uses his legs, and that's honestly what concerns me more than anything as a Vols fan is how effective is John Mateer going to be with his legs because of the limitations, with his throwing hand. Here's what I do know. I saw this stat the other day. If you take out games against the Georgia Bulldogs, as we know, one of the preeminent programs in all of college football, take those games out. The Tennessee Volunteers have won 25 straight games at Neyland Stadium. And with respect to the Oklahoma Sooners, one of the, certainly historically, we talk about teams that have been successful recently. Oklahoma's always been one of the preeminent programs in all of college football. There's no question about it. But as of 2025, they ain't Georgia. All right, even Georgia with some of the defensive struggles they have now, and Oklahoma has a better defense than the Georgia Bulldogs, they darn sure have a better offense than Georgia. And these days, with the injury to John Mateer, I'm not sure they have a better quarterback than Georgia has in Gunnar Stockton, at least a healthy Gunnar Stockton versus an unhealthy, an injured thumb in John Mateer. And so I look at this matchup and I say, it's going to come down to Tennessee's defense. Because this is a defense that has lived off of turnovers, and if they don't turn the football over against you, you're going to struggle. They gave up 31 points to Arkansas despite forcing 3 turnovers. They gave up 34 to freaking Kentucky, who just scored 13 points against Texas last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather. Give up 34 against Kentucky while scoring a defensive touchdown. Some of the injuries Tennessee has on defense, Jerron McCoy, there's rumors he could play, he might not play. I don't expect him to go. I imagine in 2 weeks from now against New Mexico State, he'll probably be ready, but Jerron McCoy's been out most of the season, same with Ricky Gibson III. Colton Hood's now dealing with injuries. It's going to come down to guys like Joshua Josephs, like Dominic Bailey, being able to consistently get to the quarterback. Dominic Bailey is actually leading the team in sacks with 4.5. Joshua Josephs, certainly a future NFL prospect, is the best overall pass rusher, highest upside on Tennessee's defensive line. Aaron Carter, T-Lander, all of these guys are going to have to win the line of scrimmage, to beat Oklahoma at the point of attack, to force John Mateer to have to throw from the pocket, to have to make the difficult throws when his thumb, we've seen it since the injury, still is not fully healthy. And that falls on the Oklahoma medical staff. It definitely falls on Brent Venables, the head coach of this team. So I must admit, with the line where it's at, Tennessee minus 2.5, I feel quite good about it. So I think the Vols are in good position, win this game. And as I've said since last week, the loss to Bama was difficult. I understand that. You went out, you run the table, you're in the college football playoff. They even showed a stat on ESPN last week. Tennessee runs the table. I think they've got like a 90% chance to get it. I'm here to tell you it's 100% because you actually think the playoff is going to leave a 10-2 SEC team out with wins against Oklahoma and potentially, can't wait for this game. We've talked about it over and over, against Vanderbilt at the end of the season. It's all in Tennessee's hands. This is, for all intents and purposes, this is kind of a soft playoff game. This is two-loss teams. In the SEC, loser certainly is well more than done. Probably both teams are done to begin with. To go to Atlanta, go to the SEC championship game. For the playoff, you're done. It's a wrap for Oklahoma and for Tennessee, who both have difficult schedules down the stretch. So I feel good about my Vols, and that is it for this week's edition of the Vol View. When we come back, Gator City as well as the cover crew, and then we'll give our top 25s. Hopefully Arthur will be ready to go for us by then. We'll be back in just 1 minute here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast, live on the Grid Network. Tim, what do you think about my segment there? You think Tennessee's got a good shot? We'll do our predictions at the end. You think they got a good shot against Oklahoma? How you feeling about that? Because I know you said you're never picking Tennessee the rest of the season.
Yeah, and then, of course, I had to pick them the following week because they played freaking Kentucky. So
I'm not going to lie. I was testing that that theory. I was like, okay, Tennessee's playing the worst team in the SEC. Let's see if Tim's going to stick to this or if he's going to say, hell with it, go Wildcats. But obviously, both Tennessee and Florida despise Kentucky vehemently. So, I was just testing a little bit there. Okay, let's go and get our cover crew games. Unfortunately, Arthur Hurst did not give us a pick because, he's tardy. As always, I'm kidding. He's not tardy. He's great on the show. He's great on the show.
He had a fun Halloween, Bryson. Give him a break.
We know Arthur, of course. So your pick, let's go and put this up here. You like the Commodores today?
Absolutely. Yeah. Try to find it here in our group chat.
Because Vandy's going on the road to Texas today in Austin. And Arch Manning, by the way, is going to play. It was announced last night.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, too. If you look on ESPN Bet, Vanderbilt's money line is plus 135. If you're wanting to win money, take the money line at plus 135. Get rid of the plus 3.5.
Sure.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good. I'm busting your balls. But like that's the thing that I'm like, hey, that's huge. To get that money line, like to win straight up against Texas. All right, Texas won last week, but it was all because we know that Brandon Walker ran out onto the field. That's why Mississippi State lost to Texas last week. That's what happened. It had nothing to do with Mississippi State being Mississippi State. It all had to do with the Barstool employee.
That was good. I'm not gonna lie.
That was pretty.
By the way, Mississippi State. Go ahead.
But I was just gonna say though, in honesty, Vanderbilt's rolling. Diego Pava is. The confidence, I don't think I've seen a kid as confident as him as I have with Texas A&M Johnny Manziel. Like that's, and I'm not calling
not even Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, Baker was pretty confident.
Baker was wicked confident. But see, yeah, maybe I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Okay, see, Baker's a competitor.
I was a huge Baker guy at Oklahoma. Yeah. Huge Baker guy. Even through all his stuff, I was actually agreeing with it because he was disrespected by the other teams first. So he responded. But regardless,
sure.
Diego Pava is lights out right now. Vanderbilt, for being technically a tier 2 program in the SEC, is playing like a tier 1 program. Just because they lost to Alabama, as they only lost, doesn't mean that they were they got their asses handed to them. They didn't. They played a tough game against Bama. And so that's why, with everything that's going on with Texas and Steve Sarkisian allegedly vying for the Titans job, give me Vanderbilt. Come on, baby. Anchor damn down.
I cannot. I will. I'm going to sound like a broken record every week. Tim, I cannot tell you how much I can't wait for November 28th, 29th rather. We got the date wrong. I can't wait for it. Neyland Stadium is going to be rolling so much you won't even be able to hear anything else through your TV screen. It's going to be nuts. And my pick is obviously Tennessee minus 2.5. I mean, listen, you tell me I get Tennessee less than a field goal against an Oklahoma team whose offense has not looked even close to the same since John Mateer's injury. We talked about in the show, huge mistake letting him play in the Red River rivalry game. That might have screwed Oklahoma's season right there. Again, I know we have defensive concerns. I do not believe in our secondary as beat up as it is. I totally get that. Can John Mateer push the ball down the field to get there, though? Also, we talk about home field advantage in college football. The Florida Gators in the Swamp have a legitimate home field advantage. Tennessee at a night game at Neyland Stadium? Oh, let me tell you right now. I'm going to be there tonight. That place is going to be rocking. Cannot wait to be a part of the atmosphere on Rocky Top. So, yeah, I love Tennessee minus 2.5. So, speaking of your Gators, let's go and get right into it. It is now time for Gator City with Tim Barnard. Tim, buddy, take it away here.
All right, so with Gator City, guys, I appreciate it. And this is going to be a massive test for the Gators today. Because not only are we playing those ugly-ass Bulldogs of Georgia, but it's also going to be a game where we, I think, are finally going to be able to use the talent that is on this roster and use it in a way that has never been done before. DJ Lagway is going to ball out. You got Dallas Wilson, the true freshman, who has been balling out. You got Trey Wilson, J. Michael Sturdivant. You have these guys who have the ability to take over games. But under Billy Napier and his play calling, it just never happened. Clearly, we all thought that Billy Napier was his quarterback whisperer and that he would take DJ Lagway and turn him into this massive, big-time college football player, quarterback. Hasn't happened. So now that Billy's gone, I think us as Gator fans can all collectively just take a deep breath. And just a quick side note, everyone wants to talk about how LSU hasn't got a single decommit yet. Usually when coaches get fired, they get, kids will start decommitting. Yeah. Neither has Florida. So, yeah, there you go. We still have our full team intact right now. But getting back to my point, Miami, Texas A&M, when we played them earlier this year, even they were talking about how supremely talented this roster is. And now with Billy Gonzalez taking over as the head coach, interim head coach, we got Ryan O'Hara calling plays. Steve Spurrier Jr. got a promotion from an offensive analyst to the quarterback coach. And even Bryce Thornton, over the last 2 weeks, he noted that this offense is more upbeat, fast-paced, just explosive. The words that came out of him. We're going to be looking to use more wide receivers. We're going to get rid of 12 personnel, which is thank God, getting rid of 12 personnel, which is one running back, 2 tight ends, because we don't need 2 tight ends. We can spread 5 wide and go and attack. Yes, it's going to be harder seeing how Vernell Brown III and Aiden Mizell are out today. I get that. But once they come back, to have those 2 on top of the guys I mentioned, Dallas Wilson, Trey Wilson, and J. Michael Sturdivant, that's 5 stud receivers right there. I don't know how you couldn't be excited if you love the Gators and are an offensive guy. Our defense is stacked. Our defense is set. We're one of the best defenses in the nation. But here with this, now our offense might be able to keep up with that. And as long as they are able to keep up with that, it's huge. Not to mention those ugly-ass Bulldogs of Georgia have trailed in 4 of their last 5 SEC home games come halftime. If we have the lead at half and we don't play in the second half like we did with Billy Napier, where once he gets a lead at halftime, it's all conservative. God forbid the man takes a deep shot, during the second half with the lead. That's why a lot of teams start to come back on the Gators. But giving us the lead at half, which Georgia seemingly loves to do this year, I don't know how you can't think to yourself, hey, we have a shot. And now, I'm not saying outright that Florida's going to win. But I think we have a hell of a better chance at winning with Billy Gonzalez as our interim head coach than we would have if Billy Napier was still here. So I'm excited for this game. 3:30, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is taking place today. It is going on right now. I mean, we're all pumped about that, right? all enjoying ourselves right before this massive game against Georgia, which I think can only boost our status in terms of going out and hiring a big-time head coach. Hey, Lane, look at what we did with this roster. You want to come here? You don't have you can recruit a little bit, but we got everything in place for you. We got the roster in place for you. Just take it over and let's go win a natty. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just saying. We're a hell of a lot better situation than those Raging Cajuns over there in Louisiana. All right? So, hey, it's good to be a Gator. Let's go, Gators. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching Gator City. We will be right back after a short break, and then we are going to get into our next segment. So stick around. Top 25. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate podcast, live on the grid. I didn't mean to cut you off there right at the end of your spot on Gator City, Tim. You crushed it. I will say a little too far in winning the natty. Come on, buddy. Like let's baby steps.
If we get Lane Kiffin and we keep this roster intact, how can we not be in competition for a national championship? I mean, I'm just saying.
Can we win 8 games first? Can we just go baby steps for Florida? All right, let's get to 8 wins, 9 wins, and then maybe a playoff. And then this is a gradual process, Tim. You know this.
Not when you get Lane Kiffin with this roster. Our roster is better than yours, Bryson. All right, come on. Be honest.
I mean,
You know it.
Our offense is your defense is way better than ours. Our offense is way better than yours. Can we agree on that? We're the number 2 scoring offense in the nation,
your quarterback is playing better than ours, but in terms of the talent on our roster, on our offense compared to yours, please.
So you're telling me 3 of the top 10 receivers in the SEC, Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, and Braylon Staley, like they just don't exist now? Deshaun Bishop playing the football?
Yes, correct. Because DJ Lagway hasn't shown off yet. He hasn't been the quarterback to get Dallas Wilson the ball, to get Trey Wilson the ball, to get Hayden Mizell and all those guys the ball. Obviously, Bryson.
I keep talking about November 29th, November 22nd. It's going to be special. Let me tell you something, and I'm just going to say in the front end, I'm going to be out of town at that point. We're going to pre-record Saturday Morning Tailgate, but it's Arthur might as well just take a back seat, okay? His show will be Michigan, Ohio State. But this one, oh boy. You think me and Tim go at it all the time. Oh, it'll be special that day. The first, by the way, unfortunately, the last annual Tennessee-Florida matchup, by the way, which will be unfortunately coming to an end next year. So we won't be meeting each other as much. So we gotta make it a special show without a shadow of a doubt. Let's get into our top 25s. Tim, we'll go and put up yours right off the bat. Who do you got here in your top 25?
So, of course, my top four is straightforward: Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama. Obviously, Ohio State was on a bye. Indiana annihilated UCLA in any dream season that they thought they were going to have. A&M won, in convincing fashion against LSU, and then Bama took down South Carolina in South Carolina, but it was a little closer, than I think Bama would have preferred that to be. Then I got Georgia Tech as kind of the lone upset here at number 5 due to their crushing victory at home versus Syracuse. Then Georgia coming off a bye as well. At number 6, Ole Miss, I have after taking down Oklahoma. Then Oregon beating Wisconsin by 2 touchdowns. Vanderbilt moving up in my rankings, having won by 7 at home versus Missouri. And then to round off the top 10, I got Miami after their 42-7 win versus Stanford. All right, starting off the number 11 to number 20, I got Notre Dame, who also was on a bye. They did not move an inch. Next, I got BYU, who, again, convincing win at Iowa State, 41-27, still remain undefeated as one of the few remaining undefeated teams in the country. Then I got Texas Tech, who shut out Oklahoma State 42-0, 7-1, move up to number 13. Then I got Navy. Navy had a 42-32 win versus FAU. They are also undefeated at 7-0. So I have them at number 14. Next, I got at number 15, Tennessee, 56-34 beatdown at Kentucky. Are we surprised by that? No, it's Kentucky. And then at number 16, I got Michigan after a 31-20 win over rival Michigan State. The Wolverines are now 6-2 on the season. Then at 17, Missouri, of course, their 7-point loss at Vanderbilt last week was a tough one for them. I had dropped them from 12 to 17. And I got Virginia. Virginia had a big-time win over North Carolina, which isn't really big time. It's just that they beat Bill Belichick by 1 point. And so, which a lot of teams are doing this year. So Virginia moved down 1 to 18. Cincinnati had a 41-20 win versus Baylor. They are sitting pretty at 7-1. They got a big test coming up. And then we got Memphis, who they had a big-time win as well last week, which is why I have them at number 20. And then to round out my top 25, I got Louisville, who beat up on Boston College, which a lot of teams are doing this year. So it's not that big of a win, but it's a good win nonetheless. 38-24 against BC. Oklahoma dropped from 13 to 22 after that brutal loss at home versus Ole Miss. Then I got Houston coming off a 24-16 victory over Arizona State. Followed up by Washington. Washington is sitting pretty right now. They are a very sneaky team. I had them in my top 25 earlier in the season. And, of course, when I did that, they lost. So then they got knocked out. I wonder if they're going to be able to keep that streak going. And then Southern Cal was on a bye last week. And I did drop them from 21 to 25, even though, yes, they are on a bye. But I'm not as high on Southern Cal as I am on some of these other teams. So that's my top 25.
That's fair. And I got to say, let me go to your let me go to that middle spot there. So I like the respect you've given Navy this season, because Navy, I mean, we talk about the American Conference, Tim, and it's USF and it's Memphis. That was a huge game last week. The Memphis, as you said, made a crazy comeback to win that game. Navy hasn't lost yet. Right? They're 7-0. They're technically at the top of the conference right now. So I think I could be wrong. Let me double check, but I think Navy probably plays Memphis later this season. Let me pull this up super duper fast. Looking at Memphis' schedule. Navy is the final game of the year. That's on Thanksgiving night, by the way. So yeah, Navy on the road at Memphis. So I mean, maybe that could be like a college football playoff type of game. And then obviously Navy's got Army after the championship game. So I don't know. That's interesting. I guess we've never had a situation with the playoff where one of the like an Army or Navy could get in, but then they also have a regular season game after the playoff is announced. So I don't know. That could be an interesting situation.
It would be interesting. But that would be so much fun. You know, you back in the Newt Rockne days of Notre Dame, Army was winning just as much as Notre Dame was.
Right.
So now to possibly have Navy win the American Conference, and could they be one of the top seeds, or not even top seed? Could they get in to the college football playoff? I think that'd be a lot of fun and just a great underdog story that, hey, we're Americans. Let's go, Navy. Come on. Let's go.
That would be cool. I will say I'm split. Like, should I pull for the team from Tennessee, Memphis? Because I did pick Memphis before the year. Or like as an American citizen, should I pull for Navy? I'm conflicted here. Okay, let's get into my top 25. Go and put that up on the screen there. I've got Ohio State, Indiana. I have a slight disagreement with Tim and with the top 25. I've got Alabama over Texas A&M. Listen, A&M was phenomenal last week against LSU. Bama didn't look as good as against South Carolina, but Alabama undefeated in the SEC. The early week 1 loss to Florida State now feels like a distant memory. Kalen DeBoer is doing an unbelievable job. Listen, Kalen DeBoer and the black hoodie, it's pretty much immaculate right now. But obviously Ohio State won, Indiana too. They've shown themselves to me clearly to be the best 2 teams in college football. Julian saying, Arthur's talked about it, but I love how they've opened it up for him. Georgia Bulldogs at number 5. Listen, big time win a couple of weeks ago against Ole Miss at home. Kind of a shootout. Come back and win that game at home. We know it's hard to win in between the hedges. Oregon at number 6. Listen, we got to see how they continue to progress. There's Dan Lanning said yesterday, I am not leaving Oregon. There's some rumors. Hey, will he go to LSU? He says he's not leaving Oregon. Listen, he's got a lot of NIL resources. He's got freaking Phil Knight, right, with the program there with Oregon. So the Ducks are at number 6. Ole Miss at 7. Again, big-time win for them last week. Big bounce-back win on the road in Norman against the Oklahoma Sooners. Notre Dame at 8. I'm high on Notre Dame. I like what I've seen from the kid C.J. Carr. I think he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in college football. Marcus Freeman's one of the top coaches in the country. Georgia Tech at 9. I'll tell you what. When you look at the schedule in college football and you think about the fact that, listen, Haynes King is taking a beating over the course of the season, but last game of the year, for a Black Friday, they've got a night game, or I think actually an afternoon game against the Georgia Bulldogs at home in Atlanta. So if we saw that game last year, went to 8-9 overtimes, that could be a fun matchup. Georgia Tech's playing good football. They are undefeated. BYU at number 10, also undefeated in the Big 12. Feels like they've got kind of an inside track to make the college football playoff. So I've got the Cougars at number 10. And as for the next 10, Miami at number 11. Again, this team's so darn talented. I just do not trust Carson Beck. That's the number one thing. Right, he had 4 picks last week against Louisville. You see on my list right there. I have some serious questions about this guy as it relates to his play in big games. I've got Miami at 11. I've got Vanderbilt at 12. Listen, congratulations. You scored 17 points at home against the Missouri Tigers, but Diego Pavia has been playing good football. The defense is outstanding for this Commodores football team. So I've got that Clark Lee's done a great job as the head coach of this program. Texas Tech at number 13. My Vols at number 14. Big time win against Kentucky last week, as I talked about in the Vol View. Again, run the table, you're in the playoff. I think the first playoff rankings, as a matter of fact, come out this Tuesday. So I'm sure we'll be talking about it next week here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Cincinnati at number 15, a huge matchup tonight against Utah. We'll see how they fare in that. The Bearcats are playing good football. I've got Virginia at 16, and I almost dropped them further. And the only reason I say that is because 3 of their wins have come in overtime, and one of their wins in regulation came by 2 to Washington State. So this feels like this team is kind of living on borrowed time right now. It feels like just a matter of time. If they're surviving Bill Belichick by a point in OT, I know North Carolina won last night, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I have some concerns about the Virginia Cavaliers. Oklahoma at 17. Again, the loss to Ole Miss. They did play relatively well in that game, but again, Ole Miss is better, lost at home. You can't do that in college football. Sooners are at 17. Louisville football. I've said it for about a month now, even before they played Miami. They've been playing well this year. They only got 1 loss of the season. Braum has done a great job as the head coach there. Missouri at number 19. Michigan at 20. Bryce Underwood, you've seen that growth. You've seen that maturity. I'll tell you what. I would not be shocked, ladies and gentlemen, if we see a situation in which Michigan potentially beats Ohio State once again for the 5th year in a row? Because that game is at the Big House. Ohio State hasn't lost to Michigan. Not a great matchup for the Buckeyes. And to round out the top 25, I've got Texas at number 21, a crazy comeback win, down 17 in the fourth to come back and meet Mississippi State. Huge game for them against Vanderbilt today. Arch Manning, despite the concussion, looks like evidently he's recovered in time enough. He will play for the Longhorns. Houston Cougars at number 22. Again, playing great football in the Big 12. Memphis. I believed in Memphis all season long. I predicted them as the 12 seed before the season started. As Tim pointed out, we might get a Memphis-Navy game to close the Tigers' regular season, and that could be a potential playoff game, essentially. If you win that game, you win the conference, you get in. Utah Utes at number 24. Again, their game against Cincinnati. And I've also got, like Tim, USC at 25. I will say Jaden Mayava is a legitimate Heisman candidate and who potentially might have an NFL future. We know if we know one thing about Lincoln Riley, it's that the guy knows how to develop quarterbacks. It would appear, Tim, it would appear that Arthur has still yet to make an appearance here on the show. It is really unfortunate. We're gonna have to make him like he's sing Rocky Top and do the Gator Chomp like at the same time on the show when he comes back.
No. We gotta figure out what Michigan does. We gotta figure out what Michigan does because that's, I mean, SEC to him doesn't bother him.
That's true. Yeah, but he's still an Ohio State guy.
Yeah, Penn State, Michigan, whatever they do, like we gotta figure that out.
That's fair enough.
Or maybe it's Wisconsin, but hey, what if we get him to jump around a little? Jump around.
That would be great. Just see him jumping up and down. Just what? If we didn't have copyright, concerns, we would definitely play the music. But that would be, that'd be a blast. Okay, I guess we'll just go and put up Arthur's top 25, and you and I can just kind of react to it. So here's his top 10. He's obviously got his Buckeyes at 1, Indiana at 2, A&M 3, Bama 4, Georgia 5, and then followed by Oregon, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, BYU, Vanderbilt. You and him are slightly higher in Vanderbilt than I am. But any reactions to this top 10? I think it's pretty fair list.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair list. I mean, I would have Vanderbilt over BYU just because Vanderbilt's, more proven, even though, yes, BYU is 8-0. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's a good list right there.
For sure. Let's go to our next 10. I think we're all in unison with Miami at number 11. You had Miami at number 11, correct?
I had it at 10, but
okay. Tomato. We got him kind of in that same area. Texas Tech 12, Notre Dame 13. Again, I do not think Virginia's a better football team than Tennessee. I think Virginia's on borrowed time right now.
I'll give you that.
Tennessee's at number 15, Cincinnati, Louisville, Oklahoma, Missouri. He's got Houston in the top 20. Listen, we've it feels like every week, Tim, that we've had Houston in our game day predictions. We always predict Houston. Like they've been playing good football this year, but again, outside of Virginia, I don't see a really huge issue with this list at all. What do you think about it?
Yeah, no, that was the first thing that jumped out to me was Virginia. I would actually have Notre Dame at 11 and maybe drop Tech and Miami a slot down. So maybe have Tech at 13 and Miami at 12. Notre Dame would be at 11. And yes, you could call me biased, but I just think that their two losses were kind of flukes. And especially with that A&M loss, that was the referees jailed them all. I mean, that was I don't know how you blatantly missed that, but otherwise, I know Houston is one of those teams. Washington has been one of those teams. They jump into our rankings, and then all of a sudden, once they are in our rankings, they're right around 18, 19, 20 to 25, and then they lose. And so it's like, all right, you're out. Like that's a no-brainer. But yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because actually I do like Missouri better than Oklahoma, to be honest with you. I think what they're doing, I get it from our standpoint of we've picked Oklahoma so much this year. If it wasn't for the Red River rivalry, then I probably would agree with this. It's just that John Mateer since and that offense hasn't been the same. So that's where I would change that up a little bit.
No, man, they're kicking themselves for I'm sure for playing. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I remember watching that game a month ago and thinking he's playing like it's like there's no way his thumb can be in the condition to play against a great Texas defense. And like you said, the offense does not look the same. And as for Arthur's final five, we got Michigan, Texas, Memphis, USC, and Utah. I guess the big disagreement with me and Arthur and yourself, I guess to a degree, is we've got Texas in our top 25. You maintain the win by Florida over Texas, fake top 10 win. So you still do not have the Longhorns in your top 25. So I assume you disagree with this one.
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, if I were to put them in my top 25, they would be at number 25.
Okay.
Like they like that's if I were. And don't get me wrong, it's not like they're friggin' 50th on my list. Like I'm not blind as a bat. I just look at it going, you were down 17 to Mississippi State. I understand it's in Mississippi State. You got those freaking cowbells that just suck. It's annoying as all hell. But you have, again, I just, and maybe this is my fault, but they came in with so much preseason hype that they were a national championship contender. Like they were going to be one of the final two teams. And yet they just have looked nothing close to it. And that's maybe where I'm drawing my inspiration from, is that preseason hype. To now watching them, I might ding them a little bit more because I'm comparing them to that. Otherwise, they were still down 17 points to Mississippi State the week after. I called them dumber than Florida. Like, hello, if you're dumber than Florida and then you go down to the team that is dumber than Florida by 17 points, who's dumber? Like,
I mean, to be fair, that game, it was, if that had been a home game, I would probably not put Texas in my top 25. But to be fair, Mississippi State, I mean, again, they're a hard team to beat at home. They beat Arizona State. They almost beat my Vols. They were up 17 on Texas. Again, I don't know if it is those stupid cowbells or whatever it is that can providing that advantage. But yeah, listen, Dak Prescott's about the only thing I like about Mississippi State. Nothing against the fans, get rid of those cowbells. Okay, if Arthur's not going to join, Arthur's joining us. Here we go. Look who joined the party. So let's go and get the graphic ready to go. Arthur Hurst is joining us here on the Saturday Morning Tailgate. Arthur, we just did your top 25 for you, sir. How are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. How we doing?
I'm doing great.
Did you have a fun Halloween last night? Did you get a little bit more Z's than usual?
Nah, man, I just got done with the Iron Man workout. You know, you gotta stay looking good.
There you go. I respect it. Okay, are you down to do Buckeyes Breakfast? Because we were going to end up skipping the segment.
No, let's get to it.
Okay, here we go. It is now time for Buckeyes Breakfast with Arthur Hurst. Arthur.
What's up, y'all? So it's Arthur Hurst with the Buckeyes Breakfast today. And man, look, we got a fun one in Columbus with the Penn State Nittany Lions coming through. Now, remember, just last week or 2 weeks ago, James Franklin was fired as the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions. That's a tough one, right? He was a really good coach, really great for their program. He just could never win the big games. One of his biggest downsides was not being able to get a really great quarterback to really help him win those games, right? You got Saquon Barkley at running back. You got guys like Jahan Dotson at wide receiver. You got Micah Parsons on the defense, but he could never figure out that quarterback position. But on the other hand, the one school who has been able to figure out their quarterback positions for the last decade plus is the Ohio State Buckeyes. And Julian Sayin right now is looking like he's going to be the next guy up, and that, hey, we have a legacy of really having really good quarterbacks at the Ohio State University. So this is going to be a very good game. Jim knows, who everybody knows, with the defensive coordinator for this Buckeye team last year. He helped them win the national championship. They were easily the best defense last year. But he has a lot of tougher matchup on his hands because, again, he has to go against his former school. He has to go against his former defense that he coaches. So, yes, he may know the tendencies of this team, but the way that Matt Patricia has been coaching these guys up, right? We're blitzing a lot more, which I love. I've never seen Matt Patricia really blitz, especially when he was in the NFL and he had the roster to do it. But this time, you got Arvell Reese, who's been quarterback spying a lot lately. You've got Caleb Downs, who's able to do whatever he wants to do out there on that field on this defense. And then in this offense, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, I don't care what anybody says, they are easily the most dangerous wide receiver duo in college football right now. There's nobody better. Jeremiah Smith is easily the number one wide receiver in college. Everybody is worried about him. And then Carnell Tate, who would be wide receiver one anywhere else, is looking like a wide receiver one next to Jeremiah Smith, because when Jeremiah Smith is doubled and triple covered, guess who's open? Number 17 for easy touchdowns or easy long yardage gains. This running back room has been growing week after week with Bo Jackson, James Peoples, CJ Donaldson, every single one of them being able to provide a role. Bo Jackson helping us get downfield, CJ Donaldson being that power back, and James People being that, that combination of both, right? Again, it goes back to Julian saying how he's been playing. They started out the last 2 weeks letting him rip it off, right? There's no more band-aids. There's no more training wheels. We're giving you the playbook. We're opening it up, and we're going to let you be the quarterback of this team. And Ryan Day, I love what he's doing. Just let Julian Sayin play. Do not coach scared. We're coaching to win. We're coaching to blow teams out. Okay, that's the mindset we need to have the rest of the season, to let everybody that's ranked under us know we are to be feared. We are the defending champions, and we're looking to run this thing back. And that starts again today against the Nittany Lions here at home. This should have been the whiteout game. This should have been a night game. But hey, why not beat these guys early in the day and enjoy the rest of this day, getting drunk and enjoying the great W against the Penn State Nittany Lions? That's all for the Buckeye Breakfast with Arthur Hurst. We about to go to a break. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate after this.
Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tailgate. We've got the BTA Trio back, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to have the whole crew in. Listen, Tim, you know I love you, brother, but it just wasn't the same without our good friend Arthur Hurst in the mix. And quickly, before we mention something about Arthur, I will say this about Ohio State. I don't know, did you guys see Nick Saban's his quote from College Game Day today about Julian Sayin?
No.
Okay, it was quite funny, so I'll just go and play it.
What was it, the quote that he said about how he knew he was going to be good or great because they tried to get him first?
No, this is it. Hold on, I'm going to play on my phone. Here we go.
I think one point I'd like to make about Julian Sayin is he was at Alabama, and the coach at Alabama played him on the scout team for a whole year. What a dumbass.
It's great. So there you go. That's fantastic. Saban's been great on game day. I'm sorry. He's been fantastic.
Wait. He wasn't talking about himself there, right?
Yeah, he was talking about himself.
Oh, he was.
There he was.
I was about to say, like,
Yeah, no, he was talking
he was
about
definitely there. Hey, man, look, thank you.
He wasn't talking about DeBoer.
Hey, we got Caleb, and we got Julian Sayin, hey, is that a recipe to run it back? Hey, we just going to take y'all's players, they come here, and we get to win national championships? I don't know, but it's looking very nice.
There you go. So I'll say this before we move to our picks, because Tim and I were discussing. You were a little tardy on the show today, Arthur. So how do we does Penn State have any sort of like chant that they do, or no, they don't? We're not. No.
Dog, listen, we're going to welcome Jim Knowles back with open arms. Thank you for helping us win. But we're
No, that won the point. That won the point.
No.
Oh, what's the point?
There, you can't be tied to the show and not expect to get away with it.
What you mean?
You gotta do something. There's gotta be some sort of college football level punishment on the show.
You gotta chant "We are Penn State" or something like that. Come on now.
We are Penn State. Oh, okay. You know what? No, listen. I will gladly do that. You know. So what do y'all want me to do? What do y'all want me to do as my
Pat, we want you to just yell, "We are Penn State" 3 times. Top of your lungs, Arthur.
Penn State. We are Penn State. We are Penn State. And they get ready to hold this motherfucking L. It's all good. In 51 minutes, the ass whooping will happen. So it's all good.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. You know, respect to Arthur for paying up on the bet, right? He's took it like a man. Respect for that. All right, guys, it's our favorite segment of the show. Let's get right into our game day picks, starting with a matchup in the Big 12 featuring Arizona State and Iowa State. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
This is a tough one. I was going back and forth constantly because, again, I just wasn't 100% sold. But I took Arizona State. I figured that they're going to bounce back in this one.
Okay. What about you, Tim, or Arthur?
I'm going to take Iowa State.
Okay. I've also got Iowa State, mostly because, I mean, I've obviously been a fan of Rocco Beck on the show, but also the fact that Sam Levitt is having season-ending surgery does, concern me for Arizona State. So I'm going to go with the Cyclones here. Quickly before we move to our next pick, because Patrick has been watched this show throughout, so shout out to him. He said, "What's y'all's take on Delaware State versus Norfolk State last night? What a great scene with Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick's embracing midfield. That was pretty cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, watching that I was like, gosh darn, we're getting old, man. We got Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson out here coaching college football teams, and but it was a cool scene from last night. Any take on that, Arthur?"
Nah, man, it's two of the greatest Eagles of all time, two of the greatest at their position, in my opinion. Both of them are very dynamic on the same team, and it was a great thing to see last night. We know that the brotherhood and the relationship that they have, they've been through war together. They had their ups and downs, and remember, like Philly was no joke during their tenure with Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens, and then you get those two guys with their coach and LaShawn McCoy. There was just a lot of drama with that team, and they should have been, a lot better than they were. They just had too much drama going on. But those two and those teams did their absolute best to stay tight throughout the drama, throughout everything, and they showed up every single Sunday to deliver highlight after highlight, whether it was Michael Vick, scrambling, because those weren't QB design plays. That was Michael Vick going out there and being Michael Vick, and then Deshaun Jackson. You couldn't cover him, whether it was, in punt return. You couldn't cover him, whether you was lined up against them man-to-man or zone. It didn't matter. They were both the fastest men on the field every single Sunday, delivering highlights and delivering great Sunday football.
And
Yeah,
Miracle
and
Meadowlands Part 2.
Miracle the
Deshaun
Meadowlands
Jackson.
Part 2. That my first thing I thought of, honestly, was the Monday Night Football first play action and Vic, who never, I think, we talk about guys with great arm strength. Michael Vick could freaking sling it. The deep ball to Deshaun Jackson, it's like, and what didn't Michael Vick have like 5 touchdowns or something in like the first half? It was something crazy. So yeah, those two were dynamic, and it was dope to see them on the field last night. Moving to your game, Arthur, Penn State versus Ohio State. It's a shame because if you had to list like 5 games that would shape the 2025 college football season, man, this was going to be one of them, if not at the top. But of course, with the dysfunction and the disaster that has turned out at Penn State, they still have yet to win a Big Ten game. Will they win a Big Ten game today, Tim?
No. Nope. Absolutely not. It's Ohio State all the way. I don't see how this could be any different.
Arthur?
Come on now, Bryson. Come on. Come on.
That's fair. That's fair. I've also got the Buckeyes. This one, I will say the line, I've been paying attention to the line. It was at 20.5. It's come down a little bit to 18.5. So folks like Penn State could cover. If the game was like a whiteout at Penn State, okay, maybe I could see that. It's in the horseshoe. The Nittany Lions are dead on arrival. There's no chance for them to win this game. All right, next matchup, you got Miami taking on SMU. Hurricanes looking for a bounce back. Tim, who do you got?
I got the Canes. I hate them dearly, but I call it like I see it. I got to go with the Hurricanes.
Arthur?
Hey, man, I got to take the Hurricanes. They finna make a storm up at SMU.
SMU locked up their coach long-term. It's not going to matter today, but Miami gets the W, continues to keep their pace and try to win the trying to win the ACC. Okay, Tim, here we go. Georgia versus Florida. It's what's the rivalry called again?
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
And can you honestly, we've been like learning about the history of why things are called certain things in college football. Why is it called that? Do you have any like historical understanding of why they call it that?
Actually, I don't.
I mean, it's maybe because it's in Jacksonville. Like I don't know. I was trying to like figure out this whole thing, but it's
there's nothing going on in Jacksonville except to drink. What do you expect?
That's a good point.
The city of Jacksonville is a dud.
I will never understand, and nothing against Duval County, but I will never understand how they got an NFL team for as long as I live. That was yeah, and they got a Super Bowl back when your Patriots beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Talk about Philly back in 05. Okay, so we'll move on to Florida and to Georgia. Tim, come on, be objective here.
Objectively, all right. If I'm going to be objective, I got to do one thing. Gators, baby, come on.
Arthur, can we bring some sense to this pick?
Hey man, listen. I respect him. You got to do what you got to do. You can't. That is an objective take. Okay, that is an objective take. My objective take is Georgia, but I love Tim's objective take. I do.
I love it.
Very objective, right down the middle.
Right down the middle, and you know what? Like it's DJ Lagway, for what it's worth. If DJ Lagway does not get hurt last year, they probably beat Georgia. Now, that was a different situation last year. Like there was a stat that we constantly gave on this show. Like DJ Lagway is undefeated in games that he starts and finishes. In large part, the reason we threw that in is because of this game. What's that?
Before this season.
Yeah, before everything kind of went to hell with the Gators and Billy Napier lost his job. Listen, substitute teacher syndrome is a real thing with interim head coaches, right? You get the old coaches out of the building, keep people kind of let their shoulders down. You ever had a substitute teacher in class? They're like, we're just going to watch a movie, right? Like that's kind of the vibe with Florida. It's not going to matter. Georgia, Kirby Smart's defense has not been good this year. If there's one man I trust to fix the defense, it is one Kirby Smart. Give me the Dogs today in Jacksonville, Florida. Next up, you got Virginia taking on Cal. Who do you got in this one, Tim?
I got to go with Virginia. I know they've been struggling recently. I know that they had a 1-point victory over North Carolina where they should have kicked their ass. But I think Virginia is going to get back on the train, and I just don't see Cal having it. So give me Virginia.
Arthur, what do you got?
Last time I checked, Marshawn Lynch stopped playing football, and Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm taking UVA. Okay,
that's fair. Listen, we were actually talking about your top 25, and we thought you had UVA a hair high. I did not appreciate that you had them over Tennessee. I did not like that, Arthur. Listen,
talk about unbiased.
I did that on purpose, just to mess with you. I did that on purpose.
Okay. I respect it. You did mess with me. You did get a reaction out of me, so mission accomplished. Listen, I said it during my top 25. Virginia has been living dangerously for multiple weeks. They've won 3 games. 3 of their wins have come in overtime. One of their wins was by 2 to Washington State. Give me Cal in this game, guys. I think we're going to get an upset. Virginia, they've been playing with fire for a while. I think on the road, West Coast, long trip for Virginia to have to make. I think the Bears get the W here. Next up, you got South Carolina taking on Ole Miss. Man, the Gamecocks were a team I thought were going to be good this year, and they have been a huge disappointment. Did they salvage their season? They almost beat Alabama, Tim.
Yeah, they almost beat Alabama, but they're not going to beat Ole Miss.
Okay.
Like, that's just a fact.
Well,
Noah Sellis can only do so much there, Bryson.
He can only do so much, and he did, to be fair, he did have the massive fumble late, and Bama ended up scoring. It was you had South Carolina fans just literally on the verge of rushing the field, and then they have to go home very sad in Columbus. I'm not devastated by it because I still hold it against South Carolina for that game in 2022, but we don't want to have to talk about that in the show. Arthur, who you got in this game?
Ole Miss, no doubt about it.
I've also got Ole Miss. I think this thing gets ugly quickly. I think Shane Beamer potentially is out of a job soon. In South Carolina, I've talked to some Gamecocks fans recently, and they're not particularly high on the guy. Maybe he takes the job at Virginia Tech, right? Like follows in the footsteps of his dad. Like that could be a cool situation. So we'll see what happens with that. USC on the road against Nebraska. These are 2 teams that have kind of been like in and out of the top 25 all season long. Tim, who you got in this matchup?
Yeah, another one I was going back and forth with. I think Nebraska has been, playing better as of late, but at the end of the day, I just like USC's quarterback. Give me USC.
Who you got in this game, Arthur?
USC. I don't remember the last time I took Nebraska seriously as a college football team.
Yeah, I mean, they did, to be fair. 1999. Yep. Well, it's been a while. They did sign Matt Rule to an extension, to be fair, and he's done a solid job at Nebraska for the last few years, along with Patrick Mahomes wannabe Dylan Raiola. I listen. I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. It is. I don't want to sound mean. It's the single corniest thing I think I've ever seen in my life. No. USC.
So funny. It's so listen.
It's wild, bro.
It's so funny, dog. He's got the hair. He's got the run. He's got the emotes down. Like, it's the funniest thing I've seen in a long, long time, dog. You would have thought this was somebody like, one of those Reed or no.
Clay Thompson. Remember the Clay Thompson look-alike? Yeah.
You would have thought it was no. This is a football player who plays college football, who legit is a doppelganger of Patrick Mahomes. It's so funny to watch.
He just has to get the Kermit Mahomes, the Kermit the Frog voice, and then he's all set.
That's nasty work. Listen, I'll say this. Higher winning percentage at Arrowhead Stadium than Mahomes. He's 1-0. So to be fair, he's been balling out. Yeah, USC wins this game though. To go on with what Tim said, I'm a huge fan of Jordan Mailata. You got Patrick Brown, Nebraska. There you go. Has Patrick Mahomes cosplay. That's a good point at quarterback. And some NFL team will take him thinking they'll draft the next Mahomes. I don't think so. Listen, he's a nice player, but no, he's nowhere near Mahomes. Let's get this over with as fast as possible. Vanderbilt on the road against Texas. I'm just going to take a wild guess on who you two are going to pick, but just go and make it official, starting with you, Tim.
All right, so we're going to get this over as fast as possible. I think Texas had a big win last week, coming back from 17 points. We've talked about this on the show. It was my cover crew pick where I took Vanderbilt on the money line. With that being said, I'm going to anchor down, baby. Let's go. Diego Pavai is going to get the job done, just like he's done all season. And the Commodores are going to be 8-1 after today.
Okay. Arthur, you agree?
Ain't going to be none of this today. They're going to be down, boy. They're going to be down. Anchor down, baby. Come on now. I can't go against the Commodores.
My pick in this game hinged. Is that or wait a minute, is that Patrick doing the anchor down? What come on, man? Like
right.
what? So we got 3 for 3. The Vanderbilt love on the show just makes me sick to my stomach. Listen, I'll say this. Because you remember I picked Vanderbilt last week against Missouri. My pick all week hinged on Arch Manning's health. If Arch Manning was out, I can't pick Texas. But they're in Austin. Arch has been playing better. And Vandy's offense has been pretty quiet as of late. Give me the Longhorns, baby. Horns up. Give me Texas to win this game at
Bryson,
home.
I got one word for you. You ready?
Yes.
Overrated.
I mean, you know what? To what you were talking about relative to Texas's preseason expectations, yes, they are indeed overrated. But on this Saturday, at home, again, how often have we talked about in the show? It is hard to win on the road in college football. You think, let's just say it out loud. Vanderbilt going to Austin, Texas, and beating the Longhorns. It ain't happening, guys. It ain't happening.
You want to talk about preseason hype and how, I'm relating that? Let's go about you. You've never given Vanderbilt the respect they deserve because you look at them as a tier 5 SEC program.
Well,
you're not even giving them the respect.
I mean, probably like tier 6,
going 7-1. I mean, goodness gracious, here I am bashing Texas for their preseason hype and how they performed, and not even close to that level. You just don't even give a damn. You're like, Vanderbilt sucks. They're 7-1 and they suck. Oh, I can't wait for November 29 because Rocky Top is going to be electric.
Listen, our Saturday morning tailgate on Conference Championship Saturday, we'll be talking SEC, AC. We're going to spend a half hour on Tennessee and Vanderbilt. I can't wait for that show. It's going to be so fun. And Patrick Brown is saying Diego Pavia will outplay Arch Manning. We'll see about that. Next matchup we got. Oh, here we go. Oklahoma and Tennessee. I'm going to be at this game tonight. Who do you got in this one, Tammy? Again, you said you ain't picking Tennessee outside against Kentucky, but you're in the big games. You're not picking Tennessee the rest of the year. You holding to that?
I am. Boomer damn Sooner. Let's go.
How dare you? You know what? The fact you didn't pick Tennessee actually makes me feel a little bit better. So at least we're not going to get a clean sweep because y'all know who I'm going to pick. Arthur, come on, go with the Vols here. Go with the Vols.
I got to take Rocky Top. Something needs to happen for Tennessee to just get back, and this is your team, Bryson, so you know more than me. But I expected more, and it just feels like after that Georgia loss, I'm just like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel confident as much. And I thought Joey Aguilar was not going to run through, but I thought his just level of expectation to play was just going to stay high. And I'm just like, okay, Tennessee, middle of the pack, they should not be. And I expect them to really come out and just do what they're supposed to do against the Sooners.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he did just throw 4 touchdowns last week and almost 400 yards. Like, he was pretty fantastic against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, but that's, when I think of the Kentucky Wildcats, I think
please.
of
Oh,
John
did you see
Calipari.
Arch against Kentucky?
I think of John Calipari and their basketball team. I don't think of football. I don't even know a UK football player. Do they
The
have
fact
one?
that Mark Stoops is still hired is mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling.
So please. 4 touchdowns against Kentucky. Oh, look how good he's playing. Yeah, okay, Bryson. Come on. It's
I'm just
Kentucky.
saying they almost beat Tech.
It's
You know what? We
Kentucky.
took it. Okay,
It's Kentucky.
Okay, you know what? You know what? You're right. It is just Kentucky. Well, this is Oklahoma. Give me the Vols, baby. I said it earlier. -2.5. I'm going to take something like 34-27. Somewhat of a high-scoring affair because I don't trust my defense. But with the injuries to John Mateer, with Joey Aguilar, and listen, people talk about Oklahoma is the 5th highest-ranked scoring defense. Yeah, I had that work at home last week against Ole Miss. And as great of an offense as Ole Miss is, it ain't the Tennessee offense. With the leading passer of the conference, Joey Aguilar, and Deshaun Bishop running the football, and the 3-headed monster, Brazel, Staley, and Mike Matthews. Give me the Big Orange, baby. Win out, you're in the playoff. It starts tonight. It continues tonight. First big win of the season for the Vols. Give me Big Orange and Black tonight on Rocky Top because we're going to be going in dark mode for Halloween. It'll be fun. Last game, we got Cincinnati going on the road to take on the Utah Utes. To quote our good friend Barry Grant Jr. 3 years ago when he appeared on my show, I still don't exactly know what a Ute is, but regardless, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in the future on the show. Cincinnati, Utah. Who do you got, Tim?
Give me the Utes.
Give you the Utes.
Listen, like I was saying that Cincinnati is looking pretty good, but I don't know. With Utah being at home in Salt Lake City, the stadium is gorgeous. They're up in the mountains, and I'm telling you, there's something different being out there, which is why, like I said, I got Utah in this one.
All right, what about you, Arthur? You got Utah, you got Cincinnati.
Nah, I got the Bearcats, man. Hey, the Bears, we use some mountains, man. Okay, we dabble up there sometimes and everything. We dabble all over the place. I got the Bearcats.
I've also got Cincinnati only because
Cincinnati.
What's that?
I said in the plains of Cincinnati. Yeah, you dabble in mountains.
Flattest part of the. Yeah, no question. Listen, Utah. The problem with Utah, and I think that you can make a case they're more talented than Cincinnati. They just been too darn inconsistent, man. Like, they're just up and down. They can blow you out any given Saturday. It's like they blow out the bad teams, such as Colorado or a UCLA. But against the likes of a Texas Tech, they get blown out at home. So, like, I have some concerns about that. So, give me the Cincinnati Bearcats in this matchup. That is it for this week's edition of the Saturday Morning Tailgate Podcast. We will be back next Saturday, same time as always, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time, live on the Grid Network. Shout out to Tim Barner. Shout out to Arthur Hurst. I'm Bryson Carver. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy a fantastic Saturday of college football action, and hopefully next week I'll have a voice because I'm going to be going nuts tonight in Knoxville and Neyland Stadium. See you guys next week. God bless y'all. Peace out.
God bless.